Good morning, everyone. No reason to adjust your sets. I am the Big A, Anthony Stabile, filling in for the vacationing, well-deserved vacation, I might add, vacationing Andy Serling. I'll be joined momentarily by David Aragona as we kick off the penultimate week here at beautiful Belmont Park. Can't believe we only have 10 racing days left here over Big Sandy. 8-race card today, just about 80,000 waiting in the Empire 6 with a carryover. We've got a special promotion over at Naira Bets to tell you about for that Empire 6 as well. Fast and firm to start the day, and we'll keep an eye to the sky all afternoon long. Big storm supposed to come through, predicting, depending on the weather model, anywhere from 1.5 inches to 3 inches of rain over the course of the next 9 or 10 hours or so. So we'll keep an eye to the sky, see what happens. We've kept some of the main track onlys in throughout the card, but we will start the day fast and firm. It's right around 65 degrees, some clouds in the air. Like I said, only 10 days to get out to Belmont before we wrap things up for 2019. Whether you come out or not, there's only one place you want to play all of the action here at Belmont, and that is over at Naira Bets. Bet 200, get 200. Promo code FALL19. Feels like a fall day here at Belmont Park. So get over to Naira Bets, get that brand new account. Bet 200, get 200, FALL19. There's a promotion I was telling you about. 20 times the points on all Empire 6 bets. Whether you win or lose, we hope you hit. But if you play it through Naira Bets, 20 times the points this Wednesday. Again, almost 80,000 waiting for you in that Empire 6 carryover. Almost 90,000, I'm sorry. 89,663. Again, the only way to take down the entire pool is if you are the single ticket. But it's a 20-cent bet minimum, 20% takeout. And if nobody hits it, well, whether you hit it or not, we got to give it away October 27th. So last time we had that jackpot pool, it got to right around $4 million. We'll see what happens here. Almost 90,000 waiting today in that jackpot Empire 6 pool. And you can make deposits through Apple Pay now. They are fast, easy, and secure, and they are now available. Go to nairabets.com/Apple Pay. And then what you do is you take the money you won in your Naira Bets account by taking the 20 times points through your Apple Pay, and you come to the Breeders' Cup Bash. Wednesday, October 30th. That is 2 weeks from tonight, folks. 2 weeks from tonight, 1.5 miles away. Belmont Stakes away from beautiful Belmont Park. King Umberto's. It'll be myself, the one and only Maggie Wolfendale, as well as Steve Grabowski. Will handicap all 14 Breeders' Cup races. Tickets are $80. You get a 4-course meal at one of the best Italian restaurants around. Past performances for the Classic, a souvenir goodie bag. Contact me, PayPal, thebigastabile@AOL.com. That's the preferred method. You could also just email me, thebigastabile@AOL.com, and we will figure out another way of payment if you do not use PayPal. As promised, a man of my word, David Aragona. How are you, pal?
Good to be here. It's a windy day. Some rain's expected to come later. We'll see how that impacts the turf races. There are 3 scheduled today. I think we'll probably get the first couple in. The last one, we'll see what happens because there is a ton of rain predicted to arrive somewhere around mid-afternoon. So we'll just keep an eye on that, and hopefully we get most of the card in.
Yeah, I have a good feeling that we're going to be able to remain on the turf through today. And then the good feeling will be left in the hands of Mother Nature.
Tomorrow, we'll see.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an awful lot of rain coming this way. But with the rain comes some wind. Hopefully that'll help dry the surfaces out, of course, Saturday. I'm not going to be here, unfortunately. I got to go down to Maryland Millions for HRRN. But Empire Showcase Day coming up this Saturday. 8 New York Bred Stakes. A ton of action in the backyard. Great day of racing. I love the 8 stakes races just for the state breds alone.
Love those days when the New York Breds get just the spotlight, and we've seen some great performances by New York Breds all year long, so they should be pretty strong races.
Yeah, Tis the Law, of course. Yep. 1 Hour Champagne. Won't see him in the Breeders' Cup. Maybe we'll see him in the Remsen or the KJC later on. A lot of exciting New York Breds, though, will take part in the action. We'll draw that card throughout the afternoon today. Speaking of today, let's kick off the action with the opener, $20,000 maidens. My top pick scratched. Andy might say that was a good scratch for me. Sanders Empire comes out, leaves us with a field of 7. Yeah, exactly. You would too, I guess.
I can't blame you. I mean, this is some field.
Yeah, I'm assuming the favorite is going to be the number 1 Fusi, despite the fact that she has never stepped onto the dirt in the afternoon.
I mean, I don't know. I thought Cairo Queen was going to be a heavy favorite in this race. I guess we'll see. Cairo Queen's dirt races, to me, just I know she hasn't been competitive and she's lost by double digits every time, but they just tower over this
Yeah.
field from a speed figure standpoint. I mean, and like at the end of the day, she was facing horses like Royal Charlotte, Safta, Smooth with a Kick. I mean, they're decent allowance. Sometimes Royal Charlotte's a great at stakes horse. So, I mean, Cairo Queen is just facing a field on the dirt that is, I mean, ridiculously easier than anything she's faced before. We'll see if they bet the race that day. Personally, I don't get Fusi at all in this
I don't
race.
either. I misspoke when I said that. She's actually the favorite right now, Fusi. So my brain didn't, which often
we'll
happens, but it didn't make the connection. Cairo Queen ran for 75,000 once in her life. Takes this tremendous drop now off a almost 4-month break, back to the dirt. Fusi's never been. I mean, they're going to be. I think it's safe to say they'll be the two overwhelming favorites in here, and then it'll be a long way back.
There's just no form in anybody else. I mean, the thing I don't like about Fusi is, number one, she's been a disappointment at short prices twice in a row in these turf races, and basically what Rob Atras is saying with this horse is, all right, I'm going to run her back in 6 days, drop her in for 20 because I just want to get rid of this horse. If somebody wants to take a shot in a $40,000 maiden claimer at Aqueduct and claim her, they can have her. But, I mean, it's hard to envision that she's in this race to win because, I mean, there's no real dirt pedigree here. I mean, her dam was over 31. The second dam was all turf. I mean, maybe she'll get some from Desert Party, but I don't know. I strongly preferred Cairo Queen. But.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Anybody else? Funderella, I guess, with the blinkers coming off, dropping back down. This horse ran actually dropping down first time against open claimers, ran against state claimers a couple of times. The 8, Flattering Eyes for Nick Zito, another horse. A lot of New York bred coming into this race as well.
I mean, the one thing I could say about Funderella is she did chase a pace last time that was
Cairo Queen's
moderate.
the only open company horse in the race. She's a Kentucky bred, the rest of them are New York breds.
That might make a difference.
Might make a difference. We'll see what happens. In the opener race number 2, that kicks off the early pick 5. The opener race number 2 kicks off the early pick 4. Starter allowance foes going to go 6 furlongs on the main track. I had this couple of scratches in here, 4 Freedoms and Sharp and Ready, who won't be playing off the layoff today. So it leaves us with a field of 5. Wicked Trick. Let's start out by taking a look at Wicked Trick back in August at the old Spa. This is him winning his second consecutive start on the main track.
This horse really came to life at the Spa this summer. I mean, that maiden win was okay, a little bit surprising to people who really knew this horse because he'd kind of been a bridesmaid on the turf without a whole lot of dirt pedigree. But this last performance, I mean, I didn't show the whole race, but he had trouble early. He got steadied after the start. He was kind of rank on the backstretch. I mean, this horse just looked totally loaded throughout, made this sweeping move on the far turn. He was really striding away in the stretch there. I mean, that speed figure looks legitimate to me. And Linda, when she moves these, I mean, this stat is good enough as it is, last out winners first off the claim, but also when she's moving horses up in class this drastically off the claim, that's always a good sign to me, and this horse must be doing well. We saw a very similar move with that horse that she just won with last weekend, I Love Jackson.
Yep.
So, I mean, just a very similar profile to this horse, and I would imagine he's going to deliver today.
Yeah, it just looks like now, and again, hindsight's always 20/20, but this horse was just running on the wrong surface. So was just running on the turf most of his career.
It would seem.
Yeah, it would seem, right? His fast track races, 2 wins in a second, 3 tries. One time on a wet track, horse wasn't placed.
You know what his one prior dirt race was before these last 3? It was the off-the-turf Bourbon at Keeneland as a 2-year-old in his second start. I think Ray Handel was training him then.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm with you there. I know we got a pace projector in here as well. So let's throw that up, and that has the number 7, Game Boy Benny. George Weaver is having a really good meet. Him and Luis Saez teaming up here, second off the claim, back to the dirt for the first time with a slight advantage over Cool Boy, who you liked last time out riding the bias.
Yeah, he really got bet last time down to 5-2. I wanted to show this anyway, even though you have to note that the 3 and the 5 are scratched, so there's even less speed in this race, is that Game Boy Benny is a pretty fast horse. And we'll see what Cool Boy does again with the apprentice on, because he wasn't that aggressive in the early going last time, even though Cool Boy did end up taking a an insurmountable advantage over a very weak field in that race. But Game Boy Benny, he's a fast, like 5.5 furlong kind of sprinter horse. And I'm just wondering, maybe if he gets in front of this field early, if he gets in front of Cool Boy, he could be a little dangerous, because I know that race 2 back that was off the turf, it didn't seem like a strong field, but All About It, who was second, came back with a 78 buyer in his next start. So that fig does really hold up, and I don't love this horse. I'm just a little scared of him.
And you may note that the red one, that big red one, Cree's Brooklyn Law, and here's Cree's Brooklyn Law last time at Saratoga, with the pace already a little murky, and now some of the speed coming out of here, you got to think this hurts this horse more than it helps.
It does. In his last race, it's hard to be positive about, because he just offered up no closing kick at all. I know the pace wasn't that fast, but it just seems like this is a horse that hasn't really moved forward for Linda Rice, and that's not a good sign. Also, I think he'd be one that would prefer that the rain come a little bit sooner, because he is a little better on a wet track.
No question about it. 0 for 19 on the fast track, even though he's run some quicker races, but he does have his 2 career wins on a wet track. All right, looks like it could be a little bit of a chalky early double if David and I are correct. Wicked trick for both of us in race number 2. Empire 6, 20 times points over at Naira Bets today. I carry over 89,000, just shy, $300 and change shy of $90,000. We go to the turf for the first time on this Wednesday afternoon. Maiden 40 is going to go 1 mile and a 16th on the inner. This one starts right on that clubhouse turn. My top pick has not seen the starter for about 18 months, and that's this horse right here. It's empirically. This is him winning first time out, but the stewards had other ideas this afternoon in August at the Spa.
This was like the Cristal DQ of 2017. It was a big-priced horse that must have been brutal for the people that bet him. Yeah, I mean, he ran well this day, and actually he came back and ran well in a bunch of subsequent starts. He just was never really able to break through that maiden level. They tried stakes with him about 3 times, actually, after this. He's been on for a really long time. He's coming back as a gelding. Roy Lerman's layoff numbers, I didn't send them in, but they're 180 days or more on the turf. He's 3 for 16, 19%. The ROI is just under $2. I mean, he's just a total question mark. He's got the ability, obviously, but we don't know what we're going to get from him.
Yeah, I was going to say, unlike Cristal, who came back to break her maiden in the P.G. Johnson and finished second in our Pebbles here at Belmont, empirically still in the maiden ranks, and he gets the ultimate equipment changes, a fresh gelding for his first start in 18 months. Look, I don't love the fact that they're running this horse for the tag, first time off the gelding, first time off the long layoff. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't bother me, but you know, when I went through this bunch, you went to the number 2, Sandy Lane Kitten. When I went through these horses, as far as empirically goes, I almost looked at them as if this horse was a fresh horse, a first-time starter, I would think long and hard about taking a first-time starter against these horses, and that's why I landed with him on top. But you took the horse who just has the faster numbers recently, and that's the Deuce, Sandy Lane Kitten.
Yeah, I'll say that for pick 5 purposes, I'd probably be using all 4 of my top picks in this race because it's hard to separate these horses. Do I love Sandy Lane Kitten? Definitely not. But in that maiden special weight last time that was won by Mr. Alec over Compliant, I actually think that was a pretty good field, so I'm not going to hold it against him that he lost by over 7 lengths that day. His prior start at this level, 3 back at Saratoga, I thought was okay. Horse got really floated him out off the far turn that day, so we lost some ground. Probably could have been closer at the end. I just thought his turf form was okay, and I preferred him to the entry, who, I mean, Montatham is the one that's going to take money, and I didn't love his turf race. I thought he was just kind of fading behind Lahara, where there was not much behind him in that field. And if he's the other horse that takes money in here, I prefer Sandy Lane Kitten.
Okay, so you like any quabble the 1A, fresh gelding, first time turf for Kieran? The other part of the entry?
There's just no turf pedigree.
Nothing.
The dam was a dirt horse. It's all dirt on the dam side. Bernardini. I looked. I couldn't find any turf pedigree with this horse. So, I mean, it seems like they're just getting desperate. I didn't love either half of the entry. Frankly, a horse that I would throw in there that's probably going to be the biggest price of all of them is Roller Rose on the 5. I know this barn's been a little cold, but this horse's best races are his turf races on the flat. And last time out, I know it was disappointing that he couldn't do better in that very weak field on the dirt, but he was extremely wide that day on a day. Then it seemed like the rail was probably the place to be when Smidge just rode the rail and got the job done. So I don't want to be too hard on him for that spot, for that race, and now he's coming back on the turf. So I'll give Roller Rolls on a bit of a shot to get in there.
Yeah, my price would be the 4 Championship Alley, who came off a year layoff and got beat a neck. It was a slow race down at Delaware, but at least horse showed some desire to still want to run after the long break, and I don't know, at a decent enough price, a horse that if he improves, maybe can take advantage of a weak maiden 40. Late pick 5 kicks off in race number 4. 14 3-life claimers, going to go 6.5 furlongs. Business Cycle, getting the job done. Thanks for sending this one in, David. I needed a mandatory payout for like 3,000 this day.
This is a rough one.
This is kind of brutal.
Yeah, I mean, Business Cycle got the job done here. I wouldn't say this was one of his better efforts by any means. I guess a repeat of this performance would probably beat this field, but it feels like he's going to be a pretty short price because of all of these superior speed figures, including many for Chad Brown. I don't know. This horse gives me a weird vibe. Why did they run on the turf last time with a horse that has no turf pedigree at all? Now they're dropping back down to a realistic level, I guess, but are we going to get that same performance again that we saw 2 back? He's a little dicey for me.
Yeah, and he's even dicier when you look at the pace projector in here. I love this new classification.
Yeah.
No speed.
And you look at this field.
Just like me, no speed.
I mean, who's going to be in front here? I guess maybe the one if Rajiv wants to send him. But, I mean, he's not a front runner. It's, yeah, I don't know where the speed's going to come from in this race.
Yeah, you know, I thought about that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and send Autostrad. And I say that a lot because I see Kendrick, but it would not surprise me. This horse went wire to wire in his maiden race. Now, I know that was 19 months ago, but he did go wire to wire in his maiden race. He was forwardly placed the second time out. Last time, he was at least within earshot. I mean, there are some horses in here that just have no speed. Yeah, Rajiv, if he wants it from the rail, would take it to scale, can probably have it. But it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick got aggressive. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if they got a little aggressive with your top pick, Desert Lights, who looks like one of the 2 logical horses in here. I had a hard time picking this horse on top because I feel like either you and I or you and Andy or me and Andy have sat here and tried to get this horse to the winner's circle for like 6 months. And there has not been a field he's been able to find to get out of this condition. Maybe he's found it today.
I get all of that. At the end of the day, I just said to myself, who's the most reliable horse in this race?
That's no question about it.
It's Desert Lights because he always shows up. Maybe he wins today. It's not like he's been losing a ton of close decisions like that horse for Linda Rice the other day that smiles from Sadie. It was just this bridesmaid that doesn't want to find the wire.
She didn't lose a close one yesterday.
No, she didn't.
Monday.
No, certainly not. But Desert Lights, he just typically runs the same speed figure, so I was going to trust him the most. He's got that outside position. If there is no pace in this race, he's probably not going to get covered up inside, which is sometimes the wrong place to be if the rider's not aggressive. As for the others, I don't know. I mean, they're hard to make. I think you want to watch the weather for this race because, at risk of sounding like you, there are a lot of horses in this race that might not be able to stand up on a wet track. Like the 1, Take It to Scale. The 5, Autostrad, hates a wet track. So, I mean, pay attention to that and how the weather affects this race, if at all. But I thought this race was just a total guess.
I don't disagree. I think the 2 who's driving, and look, I know these horses has to get faster, but I love the 2 who's driving for John Toscano was a little bit interesting at a price. I almost thought about putting this horse on top, but at the end of the day, I landed with Business Cycle. But I mean, it's as much a cop out a pick as I'm going to make on the entire card.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with putting him on top. If I would press the 4 and the 6 in multi-race wagers, but I don't trust them.
All right, that is the first 4. Take a short break, come back with the late pick 4 here on a Wednesday at Belmont Park.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Late pick 4 time. I can say this today. I'm Anthony Stabile. He's not. It's David Aragona. I'm filling in for vacationing Andy Serling. Back to the turf we go for the 5th maiden special weight event. Like I said earlier, I think a couple of the MTOs are still in. Yeah, Near Move still in. So we'll keep an eye to the sky. Well, Near Move's the one that's still in right now. Keep an eye to the sky throughout the day today. 3 of them coming out of the same race. And we should mention that this is one, depending on when you got your PPs, I got my PPs early. This is one of those restricted maiden races to the 45. This is another one of them. And here's 3 of the runners in here. I'll let you talk about it, David.
So this race featured an extremely fast pace that was set by Just in Time for Wine. And Fame to Famous, who was the heavy favorite in this race, he broke a little bit slowly. Maybe he was stopped. I mean, he didn't have trouble, but he was trying to advance up the inside on the far turn and trying to rally inside here. He should have gotten the job done this day. And I kind of have, I have 2 thoughts about this race that are kind of conflicting. On the one hand, I realize he ran the best speed figure of his career last time. The time seems legitimate. I mean, I'm not suggesting the time is wrong. It just seems almost impossible these horses ran that fast. For one of these restricted races, I mean, Get Smoke, it improved by like 25 points in that race. I mean, did Fame to Famous really run the best race ever, dropping down to this restricted spot last time? I don't know. I just wonder if that race is as strong as it seems. It almost feels like that, like when we see these, like the 4-star Dave track record, when it got set up by Guidu running so fast in the early going. I feel like this Contessa horse, Just in Time for Wine, just set these horses up to run a really fast time, and I wonder if that race is really as strong as it seems. I get it. They're the 2 horses, and I think Dancing Dunhill is the one that's going to take a lot of money because he's going out for the more reliable connections, and people are going to assume he's going to improve second time out.
Guilty.
Yeah,
Guilty
I can't blame you.
Guilty as charged. But you know what? Your point, I think, is one that needs to be kind of driven home here because, like you, I don't believe that Fame to Famous just all of a sudden got 5 lengths faster last time. And you would assume that there's going to be more room for improvement with Dancing Dunhill because he didn't have the 2 races under his belt already.
Yeah.
Right? You'd have to assume that even if that number's a little off, even if that number's wrong, and Fame to Famous ran a race more comparable to the first 2 efforts of his career, this horse has the 6 has a little bit more room for improvement.
Totally. And I say that because, I mean, if you were watching that race without the time showing up and you just saw Fame to Famous losing at 4-5, you would have said, all right, this race is going to get a 55 buyer because it just looked like he ran poorly.
Yep.
And then you see that, and it's just sort of this cognitive dissonance that it actually was that fast. And also, it has to be mentioned, Fame to Famous is going out for a barn that hasn't had really any success on this circuit. And I know it's probably because he hasn't had any good horses, but it's just something you want to note with a horse that's going to be a short price. And also, Fame to Famous is a horse that has a big pedigree that sold for, I mean, pennies based on how much money he should be worth based on that pedigree. So there are obviously some holes in this horse. So he's just maybe the less trustworthy one. Dancing Dunhill, my one problem with him is that was a super hot pace. He was way back early, made a move into the race, looked like he was going to win for a second, and just kind of flattened out. Maybe it was because he was a first-time starter. He just didn't really finish off that race, and he's going to be around even money in this spot potentially, and I just didn't want to take him at a short price.
You know, the thing with him is I think you'll see a lot more speed out of him. So what happens a lot with the George Weaver horses once they have the race under their belt, right? Now, Just in Time for Wine is back in here, and maybe he's going to try and pull the same.
It's probably not going to go 22 again.
Correct. So I'm just hoping that this horse is a little bit closer. You went with a first-time starter in here. I could not blame you with the number 8 Imperial Might. I almost put the horse on top as well.
Yeah, I thought this was the one that was interesting of the first-time starters. Tom Morley, he gives his horses a race most of the time, but he is 4 for 50 with first-time starters on the turf over the past 5 years, and the 4 that won were big prices. Carrick was one in that sample as well.
Yes,
that turned out to be pretty good. This horse actually sold for $125,000 as a yearling, but he's eligible for this race because he then sold again for $40,000 at the 2-year-old sale, working a furlong in 10 3/5 seconds. Palace Malice has just had 3 turf winners so far, but he is the sire of Cristal, and he's the sire of Structor, who are 2 of the favorites for the Breeders' Cup juvenile turf races in a few weeks. So Palace Malice has had success as a turf sire. Not a ton of pedigree on the dam side, but it is more turf synthy. I mean, there's enough there. So I'm just hoping this horse might be able to run a little bit. It's a bit of a guess, though.
Remember, if you printed these early, this is one of those restricted races, like David explained. That horse may have sold for $125,000, but at the most recent auction, sold for under $45,000, making him eligible for this 5th race. Back to the dirt for the 6th race, starter allowance, going 7 panels. Let's start with Honor Way, who I would assume is going to be the favorite in here.
I had a ton of trouble making this line. I really don't know who's going to be the
blame
favorite,
you.
especially after the scratch. On her way, she's run speed figures that should make her pretty tough at this level. I think the question with On Her Way is, where is she right now? Because this was 3 back when I thought Jose Ortiz really gave her a nice ride and saved ground and got her out enough time to run down Bluegrass Jamboree rather. Last time out, she was a little wide over a racetrack that was probably favoring inside runners, so maybe that compromised her a little bit. But, I mean, she didn't really finish off that race. She didn't run well in the mud 2 back, even though she got a respectable speed figure. And I saw this stat for Charlie Baker that surprised me a little bit at Naira, second off the claim. He's just really had no success. And typically with stats like this, I like to offer up a reason why that might be the case. I don't know why that's the case. It might just be a coincidence. But it's not something you want to see with a horse that's going to be a short price.
And I know she got the money 3 starts back in the race we just watched, but I feel like we've all been waiting for her to run back to that correction effort when she had the trouble with the big price.
True.
And she just hasn't done it.
Yep.
She just hasn't done it. And this stat for Charlie's a fantastic trainer, but this stat really doesn't help her cause today. She's going to be a shortest price. And if you're making late pick 4s and late pick 5s and you're playing the Empire 6, she's a horse you have to use protectively. But at 8-5 or 2, I think you have a 2-1 on the morning line. Yeah. At 8-5 or 2-1, I cannot imagine taking her in the win pool.
The other thing about this race that I guess we should touch upon in relation to On Her Way is to take a look at the pace projector, because she is a confirmed closer, and there's just not much speed in this field. The only 2 horses that have shown the ability to run towards the front end are on the outside, the 7 Darius Angel, who has route speed, and the 8 Tanya's Gem, who has a ton of speed if she can get out of the gate. She's sort of the wild card of this race, Tanya's Gem, because she's more of a runoff type. She's got an aggressive rider on her back. But these 2 will be out front, most likely. We'll see if that benefits them.
Can't imagine how fast that they'll be going that fast, though.
No.
Right? This was one of those races. I remember when you sent the projector for this, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a no speed as well, because they both kind of have that route speed. Maybe the favorite comes from out of town, and we'll go from this pace projected down to Delaware Park. Queen Nekia, who has been as reliable and as consistent as they come this year for trainer Anthony Pecoraro, owner trainer Anthony Pecoraro. She's run 9 times off the board just once. That was in the Delaware handicap against the late. Here she is.
112-1.
Yeah, at 112-1. Here she is last time out, finishing second in an owner's stakes race.
No, I do want to point out, the horse that's beating her, Shimmering Aspen, she's actually pretty good. Now, I don't think she put forth her best effort this day because she only got about a 75 buyer. But Shimmering Aspen is a horse that's been capable of running buyers in the mid to high 80s in the past. So, I mean, just pointing out that she was actually being beaten by a decent horse in that stakes race last time. And, I mean, Queen Nekia, as you were saying, she's just really consistent. She always shows up. The 7 furlong distance, it's maybe a bit of a question mark for her because she's had most of her success at the mile, but it's been that, I mean, she's gone 1 turn in the past, so I'm not that concerned about it. I'd use her. I just preferred the other horse that was turning back from mostly mile route races, and that's Darius Angel, and we obviously agree on this one.
Yeah, we do. Coming back quick, 11 days. Looked like she needed to race off the break last time out. 6 front. She's a kind of horse where the 6 to 7 is going to be key for her.
Yeah.
Right? She can't win at 6 in all likelihood, but at 7 you feel like you're bringing the right horse over there going 7/8.
It's because last time out she just got outrun in the early going, and this time out, especially because there's no speed in the field, she's going to get that kind of trip that she would get in the mile races around 1 turn. She's going to be up close, not taking any dirt. And I mean, let's remember, this horse actually was pretty good last winter. I mean, she ran some competitive speed figures that would make her very logical in this race, and I just think she's going to take that step forward second off the layout for Rob Atras. I don't think we're going to get the 4-1 anymore because I think that the top 3 are going to be closer in price now, especially after the scratch of Breaking Bread. But I just think that she's, for me, the most trustworthy of those 3 favorites.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I actually thought it was, I'm probably a little bit more against On Her Way than most people are. I really thought this was the 3 3 or the 7, maybe a little on her way for me.
And I don't want to. She's a funny horse. I don't want to totally dismiss Tanya's Gem because if you look back at her last dirt race, it was 6.5 furlongs on the dirt, facing on her way. She ran a 77 buyer. I mean, in today's situation with no speed in the field, if she support that kind of performance again, I mean, it's not like she's impossible. So, I mean, she's the kind of horse I would back up with as like a C in the late pick 4, pick 5, not let her beat me because she is the speed horse in this race.
And this wouldn't be the worst kind of race. I think you'd agree with this on paper where you just tell Fregoso, just go.
Oh, yeah, he's supposed to.
Just bottom them out. Don't get cute. Just go as fast as you can, as far as you can, and let the chips fall where they may. We've seen stranger things happen than Tanya's Gem take a field like this.
Surprise them at times.
No, right, a field that really has no speed. Wire to wire. Very interesting race number 6. Turn the page to race 7. The feature A other than allowance contest for the fillies and mares. They'll go 6 furlongs. I thought this was a fun race, just a field of 6, but thought this was a fun race. Let's take a look at Concern. Concern was very, very good first time out. Back here at Belmont, started the summer for Mark Hennig. Jose Lascano was aboard this day. He's back aboard today, and here she is on the inside in the blue and the turquoise of Lee Lewis, just running away from these horses.
Now, this is visually impressive. She's doing it the right way, but I'm sure that you remember this was one of the weakest maiden special weight fields that we've seen. I mean, we know Quasar, who was second. She is no great shakes, and she was able to beat the rest of this field. I mean, Able to Smile, who was third. You see that Able to Smile came back to win because she's italicized in the PPs. She came back to win and regressed by 10 points. So not a strong field. This stat for Mark Hennig bothers me a little bit. I know Mark Hennig's having a very nice meet.
Very nice meet.
But he doesn't always get these horses to win right back after they break their maidens. He's good in these maiden races and good with horses making their debuts. They don't always win back. And just because Concern beat that weak field last time, also, that was a totally uncompetitive pace situation. She got to walk up front and then fly home in 23 and 2/5 seconds over a pretty speedy strip. There is plenty of other speed in this race. This horse is going to beat me. I don't like this horse today.
Speaking of other speed, Break Curfew. I mean, you'd have to think that there's a really good chance that she'll be on the front end in here, especially from the inside under Manny Franco. She ran in the Prioress last time out. This is her 2 starts back getting the money at the Spa.
Yeah, I thought this race was pretty nice. I mean, it was an open claiming race, and maybe people will hold that against her and say she's cheaper than this field. But, I mean, she beat a couple of next out winners, Carrizo and Miss Imperial, who came back to run comparable speed figures, I believe actually a little bit faster. So, I mean, that speed figure of 82, 2 backs, totally legit. And she backed it up herself in the Prioress last time. I mean, her Prioress arguably was the best race that she's run because, I mean, she was chasing break even on the lead. She's arguably the horse that softened up break even, that made her vulnerable to Royal Charlotte in the late stages. And I know she just beat one horse home, but I mean, Break Curfew wasn't beaten that far by some nice horses. And she might have just improved for Steve Asmussen. And I'm afraid of her. I didn't put her on top, but she's in good form right now. You don't have her anywhere.
I don't like her today. And that was, by the way, that was 2 weeks after the claim as well. So
yes,
there was a lot against her, and now she has the 5.5 weeks, the 6 weeks. I just have to imagine that she's going to at least face some pressure on the front end.
Oh yeah, she's supposed to.
And I don't know how trustworthy she is when she gets asked the question.
I've never been her biggest fan. I'll say that. I thought she's run well in her last 2 races. She's run better than I thought she could in her last 2 races, so I think she is just improving lately. But I agree with you that she hasn't always been the kind of horse that you want to rely on to hold on to a lead.
I got a little goofy in here. I really don't have much to say about it.
You did get very goofy.
Al Shamka, first-time Lasix. You don't see Steve Asmussen with a lot of these horses. No. Just a handful the last couple of years. He gets Rosario. There's some speed in here. This horse appears that she just makes the one run. She ran against Divine Image, who was one of the nicer 3-year-old fillies over in Dubai this winter, going along. She has a lot of races where she just falls off the back at the end. I'm hoping the Lasix helps. The cutback helps. She broke her maiden going 7. This is 6. I'm just hoping for a little bit of a pace collapse. I'll be completely honest with you. I will have a pick 5 ticket that has an all ball here because I thought this was a very, very difficult race. And if I thought that, I was just going to take the longest price on the board.
She's going to be a big price. I mean, this is the kind of race where the only 2 horses I would throw out are the 2 horses that you have first and second. So, I mean, we saw it differently. I mean, Al Shamka, I didn't see her do any running in any of her races. I mean, she might have no ability, and she might just be in here to make the race go for break curfew. I don't know. I will say it's kind of funny. Who's the one other horse whose PPs look just like this for Steve Asmussen? He was a very good horse. Grade 1 winner. B Jersey. Began his career in Dubai.
And the Lasix turned him around.
Didn't run that well. Came over here for Steve Asmussen and turned into a Grade 1 winner. I doubt El Shamka's beat Jersey, but I just thought that was funny when I look up the stats for his foreign shippers on the dirt. He's having a great meet. I didn't see this horse at all. I do want to mention both Kieran McLaughlin horses. Alicio, I thought she ran pretty well last time. That Fair Regis race, she was chasing outside the entire way, had to kind of rush up, and I thought she ran pretty well that day. Her race 2 back, she was on a dead rail, so I think Alicio's dangerous. My top pick is Sinwan, though. I see a lot of speed in this race like you do, and I thought Sinwan might just work out the right trip. She's not this dead closer or anything like that, but she's at least shown that she can pass horses. She's got that strong race over a sloppy track, and I would imagine the track will be turning by this point in the day, so I like to see that. And I want to mention about her last race. It's going to look pretty bad to people who are just looking at it on paper. Watch that race, because it's not noted in the chart, but Luis Saez was trying to get her to settle in behind horses because a bunch of them were setting to the lead that day, and he placed her in behind Our Circle of Love as they broke for the turn. And take a look how Our Circle of Love ran in that race. She just immediately backed up at the point that Luis Saez put Sinwan in behind her, and she just got totally shuffled back out of the race. He was last at the top of the stretch, didn't persevere with her, just kind of let her run home. She's been off for a while since then, but she's returning with a steady series of workouts. I think Sinwan might just trip out in this race.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, listen, I thought it was more likely that one of the outside three, because I don't think Concerned is going to be near the lead today. I just think Concerned is going to get
based on her last
outrun.
race, she probably isn't fast enough.
Yeah, she's just going to get outrun early on. So I thought maybe the flow was to the outside. Like I said, I'll have one ticket in my late pick fives that'll have the all button. I'll hope for the best price and hoping the Lasix. Great point would be Jersey. Hoping the Lasix turns Al Shakma into the female version of the 2018 Met Mile winner, B Jersey. Wrap it up. We got a late scratching here. Dashing Dan going to come out of the last race, so that will take us my second top pick of the day.
One of the favorites
out of the equation. Yes, and we'll go to a horse that will now likely be the clear favorite, and it'll be the Deuce Uncle Curly. And here's Uncle Curly back in June, getting out of the maiden ranks on the cutback for Christophe Clement.
Yeah, he ran fine this day. I thought he was just kind of picking up pieces at the end after John BC made the lead and just did what he kind of does and gave it up at the end and basically let everybody else into the race.
That's what he does.
Uncle Curly just sort of fell into the victory here. They took a shot at the N1X level last time for the New York Breds, and look, he didn't run that badly in that race. He did have a little bit of trouble. I don't want to go overboard and say that he was going to finish in the money that day, because he wasn't, but he was trying to rally inside in a race that really had more of an outside flow to it. He was just kind of trying to pick his way through traffic. I think they're dropping him down to a realistic level. He's going to be a very short price now, especially with the scratch of Dashing Dan. And how good is this horse really?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I thought he was the best of what was left. But I do think you can go 4 or 5 different ways in here.
Yeah, and you see the stat for Christophe Clement. These horses are short prices most of the time, dropping in for the tag. It's not a great move for him. He's the horse to beat. I get it. I just wanted to get a little goofy in this race.
All right. So how goofy did you get, my friend?
Pretty goofy. I mean, this just feels like one of these races that we see as the last race of the day. We've seen some big prices win these finales at Belmont, especially on the turf at this meet. And I feel like this could be one of those situations. Magical Tail, his race 2 back. If you gave a look to Dashing Dan in this race, you probably liked his race 2 back. Well, Magical Tail finished a length behind him that day, and Magical Tail is going to be about 10 times the price of what Dashing Dan was going to be. Now you're going to say to yourself, okay, what happened to Magical Tail last time? I don't know, but what I will say is when you watch that race, Joao Rosario rode this horse like something didn't feel right. He put this horse almost under a protective hold at the quarter pole, just never asked him for run. And I'm not saying this is like that typical Joao Rosario didn't take out the whip and didn't try on a horse. Like, he rode this horse like something didn't feel right. But at least he's back now in less than a month with 2 workouts showing, so it couldn't have been anything really serious. And based on that race 2 back, I mean, he's a big player in this race, and I feel like people might just overlook that race, and he'll be a big price here, especially with the Apprentice getting aboard. And I just didn't love anybody else, so I'm going to take a shot with the price.
I don't blame you. You took your price over the 3 horses I had left in the mix. Yeah, I mean, Pipes. I don't think it'll serve Pipes well to do what he tried to do last time.
Certainly not.
Yeah, I think you have to try to find a middle ground with what they've been trying to do in here. There's some other peripheral speed in here. I mean, I guess he's the main speed.
If he runs the way he did last time, he is, especially with dashing down, not in the race.
But you'd have to think Tricky Magician is going to be a little bit more forwardly placed today, I would imagine. Listen, I can't blame you for what you did in here, because it's one of those races that if you want to get goofy, you can absolutely get goofy.
Either you're leading on Uncle Curly or using a lot of them.
I don't think you can ever lean on a horse like Uncle Curly, but I think if you're looking at PPs, you're almost kind of forced into that hand in this race.
We should mention this as a dirt race before we wrap up, because there is a chance this race comes off the turf if the rain does arrive.
16 Spectator Sport is the MTO that has stayed in so far. So Spectator Sport's still in at this point, but did you have any dirt opinions?
Well, the problem with Spectator Sport is that it seems like he can't run over a wet track. I mean, his last race was a little bit better in the slop. He at least earned a respectable speed figure that day, but I don't really trust him. I mean, Pipes probably becomes the horse to beat on the dirt now, I would think, based on that race 2 back when he was in Graham Motion's barn. I mean, he ran fine behind Dandy California going the 2 turns. The 1 turn's probably better for him. So, I mean, he makes sense. And also, Bad Guy is not a winning.
Use Bad Guy, right?
He's not a winning type, but he's got speed figures that make him a player on the dirt.
I think you have to use Bad Guy as well. I would agree with that. I'll tell you another horse. I wouldn't leave Magical Tail out. I mean, he won first race.
Just had the 1 shot.
Yeah, 1 shot, right? There weren't blinkers that day. The blinkers went on after that. Maybe he just needed the race. I wouldn't. Horse like, don't leave him. Don't use him with 30 to 1 on the turf and want to beat you 20 to 1 on the dirt. I can tell you that. All right. Well, I think that about does it.
I think so.
Rain's held off so far. Let's hold a good thought and see if we can keep it away until, I don't know, 5:18, 5:11 last post. Let's try and keep it away till 5:18. That should be good. What else we got for you? We got Naira Bets, the most important thing. If you want to play along with us today, head on over. Bet 200, get 200. Fall 19 is the promo code. NairaBets.com, the place to be. Bet 200, get 200 with Fall 19 over at Naira Bets. Take advantage of 20 times points on that Empire 6 today. Almost 90,000 waiting in the carryover pool. Races 3 through 8, there it is, 20-cent minimum. You take the whole pool down if you have 1 unique ticket. That's it. Got to take it down. Mandatory payout closing day. Just 10 race cards away. More info over at Naira.com/Empire6. You can now fund your Naira Bets account with Apple Pay. Those deposits are fast, easy, and secure. And you go to NairaBets.com/Apple Pay. Now available over at Naira Bets. And 2 weeks from today, the first Breeders' Cup Bash. Sold out the first 2 dinner and derbies. Wednesday, October 30th, 7 till around 10, maybe a few minutes longer. It'll be myself, Maggie Wolfendale, Steve Grabowski. We'll give you the winner in all 14 Breeders' Cup races. We'll try and give you the winner in all 14 Breeders' Cup races. Tickets are $80 and includes a 4-course meal at one of my favorite Italian restaurants in the world. PPs for the Classic, souvenir goodie bag. The preferred method of payment is at PayPal, the Big A Stabile at AOL.com, or you can contact me at the Big A Stabile at AOL.com, and we can work something else out. You know, I don't know if you've heard this or not, Dave, but if you came to the dinner and derby for a $1 exacta box and a 50-cent triple box, $24 investment, you cash for $7,200.
You know, at the Breeders' Cup, one of the great things about it is you just need one of those. You don't need to hit every race.
Daymaker.
You just need one good score because
Weekend
those races
maker,
are
I
so
guess,
competitive.
right?
Yeah, no.
Do you remember when it was just one day?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when did it first? 2007,
2007
I want to say.
Monmouth.
I was at that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a long time ago now. It seems like now there are so many races, every horse is pointing to 2 or 3 different spots, but that's how the Breeders' Cup has become.
Those pre-entries come out in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. 1 week, rather. I'm sorry. Those pre-entries come out next Wednesday, so we'll have a lot to talk about this week. But we got 8 for you today. As we wrap Talking Horses in just a few moments, Larry Colmus will be back with a reprise of the scratches and changes for this 8-race Wednesday card. Good luck and enjoy your day here at beautiful Belmont Park.
Good afternoon, everyone, and once again, welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. Skies cloudy, temperatures in the 60s. Fast and firm conditions, with the rails out at 27 feet on both Inner and Widener turf courses. And here is the jackpot carryover for the Empire 6. It is 89.